Me too. Anyway, I just wanted to. All right, good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:30 and take roll call of our board members first. Our students. Doug?
Here.
Justin?
Here.
Mita?
Nita will not be joining us today.
Sean?
Here.
Gina?
Gina will not be joining us.
Arsenio?
Here.
Maria here. Pretty?
Preeti will not be joining us.
And Jennifer.
Jennifer is running a bit late. She'll be
Okay.
here.
All right. And our student liaisons? Ms. Wu?
Here.
Let's see, Sydney?
Here.
And Catherine?
She's currently in rehearsals, but is hoping to join us as soon
Okay,
as
very
rehearsals.
good, all right. And Raven?
Here.
And Holland?
Here.
Okay, very good. All right, and I know first order of business today, this evening, is recognitions and celebrations, reclassification ceremony. So who takes the lead on that?
Laura's gonna quickly.
All right. And we're very excited to see all the parents and students here.
Okay, welcome.
Yes,
All right. So, hello. I want to introduce Alyssa Ortiz-Con, who's our multilingual learner and literacy TOSA, and who has done so much work to support students and get this whole process going. And so we are here tonight to celebrate our students that have shown proficiency in English and are being reclassified as English literate, and so they're moving on in the process. And all of these students also, when they're seniors, because they are reclassifying and have a second or sometimes more languages, can apply for seal of biliteracy. So that's something to keep in mind for when you get into high school. And so look at that, because that's an extra seal that can go on your diploma that says that you're literate in two or more languages. So very exciting. I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Ortiz-Con to get us started.
Great, thank you all for being here. I'm actually going to hand it over to the principal of each academy to pass out some certificates, and Dr. Wood is going to come up and we're going to take a picture.
Yes, and Dr. Maharada, would you like to come up?
Sure. Dr. Nicolao.
Sure.
Okay. So, Star Academy, you want to start first? Oh.
Yeah. You missed the meeting.
So students, if you hear your name called, come on up, you'll get your certificate. You're gonna shake some hands and then we'll take a picture at the end of your academy. I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, just.
Okay, hello, thank you. All right, first up tonight, we have Matthew Yoon. Alay Pandya. Ma Oti. Liam Puresa. Nicolas Santana Vasquez.
You gonna shake her hand?
Good hand. Thank you.
Can you stand by the adults over there?
Here, we'll take a picture.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dwaniel Pandya.
Good job.
Congratulations.
This and go stand by Autumn.
Take a picture, right? Where's the camera? Oh, there it is.
Kaylin Chen. Camila Osorio.
Congratulations.
Over here, right here.
Right here, Camila.
There she is.
Iman Jalal. Omar Ali Alazawi.
That and go stand next to all those grown-ups right behind you.
Arush Raja Varahu. Avram Joaquin Osorio.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Hold it down a little lower. There we go.
There you go.
Austin Tran Cortez. Ellie Bethany Huang.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. One more. That's Nicosia. You're welcome. Right there.
Sukam Kaur Dillian. David Rivera Lozano.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Back there in the corner.
Oh, there you go.
Yay, congratulations.
Gershan Panich. Picture right there.
Okay, where's the,
Like,
oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And Evangeline Drinknokod. All right, that concludes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Meeting end. All right, Mateo Herrera Garcia.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mateo.
All right.
Good job.
Sharam Gardizi. Harvin Saini. Jaskirat Kaur.
Hello?
Good evening, everybody. So the first awardee for PFA is Araj Ahmed. Gael Mendes Rocha. Yaroslav Monkshantsev. Maximiliano Lascano.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Take your time. Here, when you get turned around, we'll come to
Yeah,
you.
well, yeah.
How's that sound?
Right there,
Perfect.
right there. Okay,
Good job.
and right tomorrow. Okay.
All right.
Oh, I got, oh. Oh, no, no.
All right.
And Aika Omar Samora.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I don't think either.
You're supposed to read it.
All right, for ECA this year, we have Zoya Sikaluk. And Braden Ayamu.
Right.
All right.
That,
Oh, we have one.
You just came in. Congratulations. There you go. Mr. Love has
So
your
this is
certificate.
Gael Mendez Rocha.
Yeah, right here in the
Back
middle.
over
There you go.
And
Yeah,
camera over
yeah,
here.
and your mom's over there, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Mrs. Barrow, what were you telling us about the celebration?
okay, yes. So at this point, there's still some student reports that are going to be going on, but all of the families who are here for reclassification, we have a celebration over in the ECA Learning Center. So we can head out over there and we'll have a little party.
All right. Thank you guys all for coming. So the door, you go out that door or you go out this door? Yeah. Thank you for coming. Congratulations. Great job.
I'm a whole job.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thanks for coming.
So I was.
All right. We already did roll call. Let me record reflect them here. Thank you. This morning. This is all you guys. Student information updates, please. Early College Academy, is it Lowena?
Yeah.
Wu. Yeah. Miss Wu, Miss Wu, Miss Wu.
Hello, Board of Directors and student liaisons. My name's Louina Wu, and I'm proudly representing ECA. And I'm so excited to tell you guys about our school and what's happening. On Monday, September 8th till September 12th, Friday, our social emotional counselor, Ms. Zopa, visited each grade to talk to us about suicide prevention and gave us important information about this topic. Then on Thursday, September 18th, it was HBCU College Fair. Students got the chance to visit Grant Union High School and learn more about historical Black colleges and universities. Some of my friends went and they told me their favorite college was Morgan State. And then on Friday, September 19th, we had Staff Development Day. ECA teachers spent the day looking at student data and planning ahead for the school year. So we students got the day off. Then Monday, September 22nd till Friday, September 27th, we had Spirit Days before homecoming. This was also with PFAA. Monday was PJ Day. Students just rolled out of bed and came to school. Then on Tuesday, we had Class Colors Day. Then Wednesday, we had Performative Male and Pilates Princess Day. Then we had Thursday, we had Y2K Celeb Day. Students dressed up as celebrities from the early 2000s. Then Friday, we had Twin Day. Then September 27th, we had ECA Hoko pre-party and homecoming dance. Leadership hosted Hoko pre-party for ECA students to get everyone hyped up before the big night. Afterwards, we had the homecoming dance. It was really fun. Students got to enjoy their time by hanging out with their friends and dancing all night long and eating snacks. My favorite part of Hoko was the song Fiend coming on because everyone came and danced to that song. It was also a song that everyone knew about. Then Monday, September 29th, we had college fair. Students explored different college options and learned about opportunities they could take after high school. Wednesday, October 1st, we had the Link Crew conference. Link Crew leaders went to the conference at Antelope High School. I went. It was really fun because I got to network with other students from different high schools. Then on Monday, October 6th till Friday, October 10th, we had fall break. This was the first break we had for this school year, and students and staff got some much needed rest. In other news, on September 15th, our principal, Miss Woods, announced that she is resigning, and we are really sad to see her go. She made such an impact on ECA and Natomas Charter overall. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Ms. Pettit.
Hi, I'm Sydney Pettit. I'm an 8th grader at Leading Edge, and I'm here to tell you what's been happening the past month at my school. So September 15th through 19th was our first Spirit Weekend rally, which was cartoon themed. So everyone dressed up as their favorite characters from Cartoon Network, Pixar, Disney, all things like that. I actually got to dress up with my friends as Shimmer and Shine, which is one of our old favorite shows. And on the rally day, which was Friday, each grade level dressed in a different one of our school colors, red, black, and white, to show off our school spirit. We had our minimum week for student conferences where teachers got to talk to students and their parents about grades to see if they can help get them up and what they need to keep going, and in the end, maybe get a chance to get high honors. September 29th, we had our Jogathon. Jogathon raises money for our school, and each student runs as much as they can for 15 minutes while also trying to get donations from parents, siblings, community members, people like that. I personally do not like running, so this is not my favorite thing to do. But I do love raising money for things I care about, like our school. We also had our fall break, and where students and teachers get to relax, have fun, and come back to school well rested and ready to learn. I got to go to Disneyland and got to go to Chico State University to visit my sister, which I really loved. Right before fall break, our web leaders met up with their webbies and taught them the importance of asking questions. We did this by hiding a candy bar somewhere in the classroom, and they only got to ask questions to find out where it was. I think we met our goal of trying to teach them how important questions are, while also being able to eat candy. We also had our non-student day. That day, the students of Leading Edge get the day off while the teachers stay and work hard, because it's hard work to be a good teacher. Thank you.
All right, next up, Ms. B from PFAA.
So Catherine is not with us this evening because she is actually in rehearsals right now. She's part of the cast of They Promised Her the Moon, which opens this week. So they're still finishing up. So I told her I would read on her behalf. So September 10th was the senior picnic. This was a project that was part of the senior experience class to work together in committees to plan a large event. On September 11th, we had PE Family Hour. On September 15th, we had coffee or cafecito with the principal, which was all the Blackhawk principals were together to discuss yearly themes, goals, and hands-on support for Power School and Schoology. September 18th, as Louina talked about earlier, some of our students went to the HBCU college field trip at Grant High School, and a number of our students actually were admitted, and a couple received very nice scholarships while they were there. Also on September 18th, we had our National Honor Society induction ceremony to honor new and returning PFAA and ECA students. On September 19th, we had a theater masterclass with Laurel Olstein. She's the playwright of actually the play, They Promised Her the Moon, that I just mentioned Catherine was in, that opens this week. So she actually came and worked with the class and talked a little bit about the history behind the play and stuff. On September 20th, we had Campus Beautification Day where family, students, and staff came to help freshen up the campus. The 22nd through the 27th was homecoming week, and yes, the theme was Y2K, which officially made me old, I guess, since I remember everything you're talking about. September 13th was Middle School Advisory Cup. We also, on September 13th, had a parent U that was focused on mental health support and tools for caregivers, presented by our counselors, Ms. Herman from Star Academy, Mr. Gouge from Leading Edge, and Ms. Snowden from PFA Middle School. On the 26th, we had our Web 6th grade fall festival. On the 27th was the Swap Meet, which is a music department fundraiser. The 29th, we had Math Night here on campus, which was focused on an instructional approach called Building Thinking Classrooms. And that same night, we had a college fair that was actually sponsored by 2 of our PFA seniors as part of their senior project, with a parent workshop, financial aid, dual enrollment options, and college options as well. On the 1st, we had a Link Crew Conference, and then the 6th through the 13th was fall break, so campuses were closed. But we did have a group of 10 PFAA students and staff members go to Baja, Mexico as part of our One Voice program. And they did a coastal science project and have an artistic exchange with a group of students there. Thank you.
Next up, Ms. Young Raven for ACT.
Good evening, my name is Raven Young and I'm a student representative for PACT Academy. On September 11th, PACT held a parent coffee talk where Principal Carter met parents to discuss getting your homeschool year started. It was a wonderful opportunity for families to connect and share ideas. On September 19th, students gathered in the multi-purpose room for Picture Day. They smiled for professional photos on their ID cards and the yearbook and were available to purchase online. Next was the middle school social on October 1st. The theme was Totally 80s. Our 5th through 8th graders danced, played games, sang karaoke, and dressed up as people from the 80s. The following day, October 2nd, Principal Carter hosted another parent coffee talk, this time focusing on routines at home. On October 3rd, students had planned to visit the Sac State Aquatic Center for kayaking and team building. However, the trip was canceled due to thunder. From October 6th through 10th, PACT was closed for fall break. When we returned, students participated in an In-N-Out field trip. We got a behind-the-scenes look at the kitchen, learned about the restaurant's history, saw how the food was prepped and cooked, and afterwards we enjoyed a delicious meal. On October 17th, 5th through 8th grade students visited PFAA to sit in on a stagecraft class, learning how stagecraft productions came to life, and they were also taken on a tour of the PFAA and ESA campus. And we even got to go on the catwalk on top of the Benvenuti Theater. Now let's get into upcoming events. On October 24th, our students will travel to Santa Cruz for a visit to NOAA, where they learn about marine debris and explore the Sanctuary Exploration Center. And finally, PACT is hosting a Fun Friday festival on October 31st from 9:30 to 11:30. Students will be dressing up as the Halloween costumes and will be taking kids on a tour and learning about poetry. Thank you for listening.
We have a new student representative from Star Academy. Will you please help me pronounce your last name? Olizawi.
Yeah.
Ms. Olizawi. All right, thank you.
Hello, Matilda Charter School Board members. My name is Helga Olazawi, and I'm one of the student representatives for Star Academy. First up, we had Fall Picture Day, and students lined up in the gym, dressed up their best, and took their picture. I wore a simple white t-shirt with an overall dress. Next, we had our fall enrichment classes start. One of our teachers, Mrs. Collins, has an embroidery class, and one of my friends goes to the class and is going to embroider a bowl of rice on their red sweater. Some of the other classes were sports, baking, art club, Glow Girls, garden clubs, STEAM with stories, and mentoring. Another important event was the STEAM night. The most famous thing to do is the egg drop. Mrs. Rojas, one of our teachers at Star Academy, dropped the egg structures from the roof of Star Academy. And one of my friends did it, and somehow, after lots of layers of cardboard and tape, it made it. So the other activities were dry ice with Mr. Strazo, AI with computers, make your own kazoo, and make your own helicopter. Then we had college day. It's basically a day where you dress up in college gear and they also show out college signs. Another event that happened was our first PBIS assembly of the year. The student council and student board reps were a part of the assembly and helped by giving prizes and picking raffle winners. On September 30th, Star Academy had the UEL visit from Open Access. This visit was an opportunity for teachers from other schools to come to Star Academy to look at classrooms, observe teaching, and take away ideas for their own classroom. We're very proud to be models for other schools. Lastly, on October 2nd, we had International Walk to School Day. Even though it was raining, we had a DJ come near the gym and play some tunes. Students were dancing, even though some were carrying an umbrella. Thank you all for listening to the Star Update. I hope you had a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Those were great updates, thank you. Okay, next up, hearings of the public for items on the closed session agenda.
Nothing received with me.
Okay. At this point, I will adjourn to closed session to consider and or take action upon any of the following public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code 54954.2. Administrative Representative Dr. Joe Wood, Executive Director Evaluation and Employment. 5:58.
All right, we will be back shortly.
Okay. All right, we will reconvene open session at 6:49 PM. No action taken during closed session. And I would like to make a motion for H, item H on the agenda, to modify action item J5 to remove Arsenio Mataka and have his approval at the November board meeting.
So now we should need a second for that.
I second.
Maria seconds.
Roll call vote, Sean?
Yes.
Yes, to abstain, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, stay, yeah.
Yes. Jennifer, I mean, yes.
Yes.
Justin, okay. All right. Next up, now we'll have an approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
You just did that.
You approve
I
the
did
agenda
with
with the change.
Yes.
With the
I-
change. Yeah.
Oh, with the change, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it just.
Well, that's
you
just
did.
efficient. That's too efficient. Awesome. I'm so efficient. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, so may I have a motion to approve tonight's consent items? So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Justin,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jennifer, yes, Maria,
Yes.
Arsenio?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Okay. Action items, approval of medical insurance applications.
All right, good evening, everybody. We have some guest presenters here tonight. And I just wanted to take a moment before we got started, just to remind the board and our audience at home, except you, about our, this whole long process we have gone through. We started in the fall of fiscal year 23-24 and developed our health and welfare committee, and then worked first of all to go out for an RFQ to get an independent broker to meet our individual needs and stuff. In January of 2025, we approved Alliant Insurance Services. And one thing that I wanted to note, so that board members, if you're out and about on the campuses and stuff, with all the hard work that our volunteers put in, I just wanted to publicly acknowledge our Health and Welfare Committee members and stuff. Kiwana Ville, our Human Resources Analyst, Felicia Howard, our Human Resources Technician, Ziba Hone, our Executive Operations Manager, Sarah Strazo, Star Academy Kindergarten Teacher, Amy Kaler, our Special Ed Director, Jenny Valentine, Middle School PE Teacher at PFAA, Christina Green, Middle School Social Studies Teacher at PFAA, and Linda Matson-Bose, our Administrative Assistant on the Black Rock campus, Nicole Bachaco, PFAA High School English Teacher, and Carly Nielsen, our Elementary Teacher at Star Academy here. So without further ado, we are going to turn it over to Therese Howard and Regan Peralta from Alliant Services to kind of give you a high-level overview of what you'll be approving tonight.
Thank you. Oh, my pleasure.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see if I can make it work. Hi, good afternoon, well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us. As Anita mentioned, we've been working, and she and the Health Work Committee, they put us to task, and we were up for it. We wanted to make sure that we gave you guys the program, the health and welfare program that you so deserve. So here are the results, and it's not a presentation. We'd love to make this conversational. So please, if you have any questions as we go through the material, please just stop and we'll discuss it. Ziba, which one is it?
The little.
Yep. Okay, so we'll go through the executive summary. We have a comparison of what your charter life benefits were and what you can expect in 2026. We have your financial overview summary of where we landed. And then we'll talk about the benefits administration. And then we'll review the timeline. And I believe you guys have all received the appendix with all of the backup information. So as about 85% of you have Kaiser, and Kaiser's breakaway policy means that you can keep your Charter Life benefits as they are. There are no changes for that first 12 months of your contract. So you break away with whatever the Charter Life renewal would have been, minus the trust administrative loads. So you get the raw renewal. And for your Kaiser low plan, that meant a 3.4% increase. Your Kaiser high was less than 1%, and the HDHP plan was 4.4%. Now keep in mind again, these breakaway rates have been adjusted. They include our commission fees, the 12-month contract, and there have been no benefit design changes, all right? So looking ahead, what we can expect for your 2027, that'll be your first 12 months outside of the trust with your Kaiser Direct contract. Any questions there? Okay, we'll keep it moving. So for the remaining 20% of you who have your benefits outside of the Kaiser option and you are currently with Anthem, we were able to bring you 2 new options, and we did our best to make sure that you were able to maintain the doctors you've grown to trust and love, but there were some misses. But we were able to bring both Sutter Health Plan and the Western Advantage as your 2 new options. So now you have 3, both Kaiser, Sutter, and Western Health Advantage. And when you look at the breakdown as your current comparison with your Anthem plans, when you look at the savings for those comparable plans under Sutter and under Western Health, there is a considerable savings. Any questions there? So now we'll go into the financials. Reagan?
So for the financial overview, we're showing you two ways to look at your financial overview. On page 6 of your handout, you'll see just the medical plans. The medical plans that are changing effective January 1st, 2026. By replacing, by renewing your Kaiser low, high, HDHP plan and going direct with Kaiser, and by replacing your Kaiser low, base, and high EPO and the base PPO plan to Sutter Health and Western Health Advantage, the impact to spend is decreased significantly. A large reason for that is your Sutter and Western Health options are all HMO plans. What you had with Anthem were 3 EPO plans, which is also similar to an HMO plan because there is no out-of-network benefit, and then 1 PPO plan. To piggyback on what Cherise had mentioned, the purpose of presenting both Sutter and Western Health was primarily for those employees who are currently using Sutter providers, they can elect Sutter Health Plus. If for those employees who are accessing Dignity providers, which both are big here in the Sacramento area, they can choose the Western Health Advantage plan. The next slide goes. And nope. So the next slide. While I'm doing this,
there it is.
Oh,
there it is.
Oh,
There we go.
So this next slide shows Natomas Charter School's total health and welfare spend. So this includes not just the medical, but the dental, vision, and life and disability. Based off of enrollment as of, I believe this was July or August of this year, the projected spend for Natomas Charter School was 2.2 million. Moving to either option 1 is Sutter, option 2 is Western Health, lowers the total spend to 2.1 million or 2.187 million for Pioneer 2026. Again, this is all subject to change depending on where your employees enroll at open enrollment.
So you may say, okay, so it's a 2% savings, it will, and I get that. So, so this, but it's not about, the reason that I included this slide, if I could have some help here. Am I doing something wrong?
Let me just manually forward it for us.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So if you go back to the trend, and I want to, you know, so when we're looking at the program, you know, what we do at Alliance, we never renew you just from year to year. We always look at your sustainability and long-term strategy. And that's what my team and I did. We took a look at your 5-year renewal trend with Charter Life. And you'll see we had a couple of good years. One was we were able to negotiate under the Charter Life realm. We had a 2-year deal, and then moving out of that 2-year deal, we had COVID. And with COVID, you know, so that's why you saw like 3 good years under Charter Life was because, you know, during the pandemic, no one was using services. But then you'll notice that as soon as you went back to using services and everything, you had quite a big jump of 21%. That's far above trend that we see in the national trend. So even though, you know, for this first year in our first move, it's a moderate, you know, very moderate, you know, 2%, 3% savings. We expect that to level off, and you shouldn't experience the 20+ increases year over year. Any questions there?
So what were the main factors? And I mean, keeping a 2% decrease is pretty impressive in this environment with healthcare costs. Like, how is that possible?
So again, like Regan said, we moved you out of an EPO, which is a closed network, and it's a hybrid of a PPO and an HMO. We gave you 2 new HMO options, and health maintenance, that's what they do. They maintain lower costs, you know, and that too is a closed network, but by giving you 2 options, we wanted to eliminate your, the experience of disruption with your doctors. So that's why we were able to offer such a, you know, a big dip, especially when premiums are going, you know, up year over year. So had you stayed in Charter Life, your increase for this year was 18%.
Also, can I add to that,
Yes.
by being part of Charter Life, it's a large trust and stuff. And the Anthem had those EPO plans, which are self-insured plans. So when the carriers would give us these raw rates for Northern California, Charter Life would add their commission, they would add their administrative fees, they would add their reserve fees on top of that. By going direct and working with Alliance and stuff, we're getting the raw Northern California rates this first year and stuff, and then their 5% commission on top of that. So already that's some of the savings that we're getting from Charter Life. Now, we will be, when we look at next year's 2027, they will have our actual claims information, the providers will direct.
Well, no, there's no claims because we're not.
We're not big enough, right?
Yeah, for claims you need. But with this, we do have greater transparency there was, this Charter Life, bubble. So now we do have access not to claims data, but more data than we would, have otherwise, and you have more control. We're working on your renewal much earlier than you typically experienced in the past. And, so, and by working with Anita and the Health and Welfare Committee, that our actions and everything that we're doing, your benefit design is directly, coming from you. It's a result, like it's in response to your surveys, that you guys have filled out, so it really is a customization for what you want.
And just to piggyback off of that, with regards to reporting, yes, the carriers will not be able to provide claims specific data, but all the data that they'll be able to provide to Thomas will be specific to you. It's not a pool. So whether it's eligibility or just large claims, for example, that will all be specific to the Thomas Charter School and not the entire pool.
You're not taking on somebody else's risk. Okay. Yes.
For the people who, I don't know how many, it looks like 30 or 40 employees who will have to choose likely either Western or
Sutter.
The doctor match. How is that? You mentioned something about earlier in your presentation about we tried our best to match up the doctors. Are they gonna experience any mismatch with their doctors?
Some of them have, and so, like what we've asked, and, we've been working with everyone who, has, we've sent out the links so you can proactively look to see if your doctor is within that network. And, in some cases when it's come back as negative, we've been able to confirm, yes, this doctor is available here, but in some, unfortunately, they're not. But because we're early, what we're doing is for anybody who's on maintenance drugs, for anybody who has surgeries or anything that's currently scheduled, we're working closely, and so are our carrier partners, to make sure that there's no interruption of your care, there's no interruption of your medication, and if you have pre-authorized drugs, we're making sure that those PAs are submitted and that, you get your medications, and if there's any hiccups, we are so early that by January, we will have had all of these issues resolved or addressed.
And Arsenio, one other thing I just want to add to that is the business office, when we announced this to employees, they had a mandatory survey that all employees had to complete. And as part of that mandatory survey, you actually had to identify that in the systems that Shree's talking about, that your doctor was there, or if your doctor was not, then that's where Sharice and her team really kind of stepped in. And we had, I think, between 3 and 5 employees whose current doctor wasn't there.
Okay.
And so they've actually been working with those individuals if there's a continuance of care, or even helping them find a doctor in another system. Largely, it's our employees who use UC Davis Health.
Right.
So basically, if you use, Sutter Health, Dignity Health, the Hills, you're fine. It was the UC Davis doesn't have a contract with either of these providers, so that was the one little hiccup.
That's what I was looking for, is just like a sense of like the number of people who may have to help.
So far as
So that's
the
a
5,
minimum.
that was, but it's 5 more than we wanted to be,
We also found too that, by people looking at all 3 carriers' rates, we have some Kaiser people thinking about jumping over to, is there some significant changes to the non-Kaiser plans?
And just to add to that, whenever there is a carrier change, it will never be an exact match. Because every carrier has different contracts with different providers. So that percentage was about, I think, 15% of the total population that's transitioning off of Canada. That's your typical percentage that would have some experience disruption in coverage.
Okay.
And I may have missed this, do we re-up this every 12 months?
It's every 12 months,
Okay.
yeah. So.
And now that we have independent medical broker and stuff too. They can go out to market if we're not satisfied and work on our behalf.
Perfect segue. Let's talk about marketing. Let's see, we can have an overview, because as I said, this has been, we've been working together for over 10 months to build a program out, so it wasn't just fly by night. And we went out to different pools. Since you were currently in a pool, we went out and looked for other pools that you might be comparable with, and those pool carrier options, unfortunately, you are very unique, that you are not, you don't have a bargaining, that you're very unique. I've worked with several charter schools, and so as a result, most of the pools that we were considering, and most of pools in general, who are, who deal with schooling, and they always require that you have a bargaining unit to join. So that eliminated that option. And then we looked at a couple of self-funded arrangements, and like after careful review, the committee, we discarded that option as well, primarily because they couldn't finalize their rates until they did health questionnaires. So, we wanted to make sure that the numbers that we brought you have been finalized. So that's why that was discarded. And, so we went with the direct recommendation. And here's a look at, those are the pooled carriers who declined to quote because of the bargaining. Here are the self-funded carriers that we considered that, Gravy quoted, and with the ICRA plan. I don't know if you guys have heard about the ICRA plan, but it's age band rates, and of course we don't want those. So we discarded that option. And in terms of direct carriers, here's who we put the proposal out to, and here's who some declined to quote, because a lot of carriers may decline to quote if you are your first year out of a trust. So.
And one of the primary reasons you'll see United Healthcare, HealthNet, and Cigna, they decline to quote primarily, to Shree's point, but also you have such a high Kaiser penetration. 80% of your employees are on Kaiser. So the carriers require minimum 50%, 50-50 split between Kaiser and another carrier. So that was another reason. With this change that we're doing, and what Anita mentioned earlier was, you have some employees now looking at leaving Kaiser and moving to a non-Kaiser carrier.
Which is great.
Which is great, yeah. What we will be doing next year is we will be reviewing what the percentage is. How many, is it a 50-50 split? Are we close to that? Yeah, so that it allows us to check the market for alternatives. If Matonis decides that you want to look at alternatives.
And you understand why the other markets, they don't want to go under 50%, because they're typically saddled with the really sick people, because sick people stay with their doctors, and they have a tendency to run higher claims. So that's why if you fall in going along the gorilla that we call Kaiser in California, they have to maintain at least a 50% enrollment so that there's balance.
Adverse selection.
Yeah.
We're afraid of adverse selection.
Okay. So Regan's going to talk about the benefits administration.
Yes. So currently under Charter Life, BRMS is the benefits administration platform that you use to enroll on benefits. Starting January 1st, actually not January 1st, starting next week. At open enrollment, Employee Navigator will be the new benefits administration system that will be, that employees will go into, make their elections, and Employee Navigator will transmit all elections to the carriers via EDI feed on a regular basis. So this is not just for open enrollment, but also for new hires. If employees need to make changes to their address or add a dependent, they would go into the employee navigator system to make these changes. This specifically applies to the medical plans only at this point in time, because there is another portal that is used for your dental and vision program. What else? I think that was so Employee Navigator will be used starting next week. Next week will be an active open enrollment. What that means is all employees will be required to go into the Employee Navigator system and make their elections, add their dependent information as well.
So we're at the end. Here's the timeline and our next steps. So did you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, I just had a question on the benefit administration. Is there anything else that Charter Light did that we would be missing out from on the employee navigator like platform? Did they provide any other like services that would be
The only one I can
helpful?
think of off the top of my head is the processing medical COBRA. And that will
Cobra
be
administration.
handled by my office because we're already
Okay.
doing vision and dental COBRA. So we're just gonna take that on instead of paying a third party.
A great question.
Yeah.
You guys have good questions for us? All right. Well, thank you guys for having us. Thank you
Thank you guys for
coming.
coming and sharing your
All
experience
right.
with us.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the medical insurance applications?
I'll move.
Thank you, Arsenio, may I have a second? Second. Oh, she's giving it to Justin.
Yeah, I'll give it to
Sorry,
Justin.
You'll have to take the.
Thank you, everybody.
That's fine.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Roll call vote, Sean?
Yes.
Arsenio?
Yes.
Dr. Renarado?
Yes.
Jennifer, I'm a yes. Doug?
Yes.
Justin? Okay, next up, approval of second reading and adoption of board policy BP 6164.4, identification and evaluation of individuals for special education.
All right, so this is just a second reading. We made a few updates based on the feedback from last time. And it really goes into this paragraph right here. We worded just slightly. And it's about having our students coming into the IEP meetings so that they can present on their current levels and where they're at and learn to advocate for themselves and their needs around their accommodations and services. Everything's in red. This one really didn't have too much of a tweak. It's more the next one after this that we tweaked a little bit more. But was there anything anybody else saw? No? Okay.
There are two separate action items.
Yeah, there's two separate ones, sorry. So the first one is suspended.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve board policy 6164.4, identification and evaluation of individuals for special education? Thank you, Dr. Gaffney. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Arsenio. Roll call vote, Sean?
Yes.
Arsenio?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
Jennifer, I'm a yes. Doug?
Yes.
Justin? Okay.
All right, then the second one was around 504s, same type of thing where we were having where the students are going to be coming in. We linked it to our three-way compact. One of the things on page 70 is we under 6A, on page 70. We redid some wording. I believe we took out a word or two in here to make it a little bit more clear on the purpose of this is for the evaluation. So it just cleaned up. I think there was one extra word. And then we just deleted that part off. Otherwise, it's the pair on page 73, number 3.
And this one was the one that had school or the charter instead
Yes.
of NCS, so we aligned them to be the same.
That's right.
Why the red, that's why the NCS is in red.
All right, so then this paragraph is that last main part about the three-way compact and having students included with their 504, just like the other one. And the word NCS throughout, like Ziva said. Otherwise, did anybody see any other things that we needed to fix? That you wanted to change?
Everybody good? Okay. May I have a motion to approve board policy 6164.6, identification and education under section 504? So. Oh. That's good, that's good, that's good. I don't wanna be in the middle here. And you are, literally. Dr. Mayorado with the first and Doug with the second. Roll call, vote, Justin.
Yes.
Dr. Gavney.
Yes.
Jennifer Farmer, yes. Maria.
Yes.
Arsenio.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Wood.
So tonight we have before you action item J4 and J5, which are approval of board of directors positions. So the first renewal is for approval of board of directors site-based parent representative term renewals. As a self-appointing charter school nonprofit board, you guys have the ability to approve term renewals. So this is for our Star Academy site-based parent representative, which is currently held by Kriti Merchant, and our site-based parent representative for Leading Edge, which is currently held by Anita Kushal. And approval of this action item will renew both of these individuals for a 2-year term.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the site-based parent representative term renewals? Thank you, Justin. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Arsenio. Roll call, Sean.
Yes.
Arsenio.
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
Jennifer. Yes. Daphne.
Yes.
Yeah, Justin.
Yes.
Okay. And J5 we removed for tonight, correct?
No, you modified the action item. We didn't remove it. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So action item J5 is similar to action item J4, but these are for our community representatives. Given that we had some illnesses tonight, in order to make sure that we have a quorum for this item, you guys earlier tonight on action item H approved your agenda to modify this to do Arsenio's appointment at the next meeting. So we would be, by approving action item J5, you will be renewing Dr. Maria Mejorado for a 1-year term and Sean King for a 2-year term.
Okay, so are we still gonna have, when they have to abstain?
So yes, for this vote, Maria and Sean will need to abstain, but Arsenio will not.
Okay.
Because he's no longer
I
on
got
the
you, I got you. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the Board of Directors Community Representative term? Thank you, Dr. Gaffney. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thanks, Justin. Roll call vote, Justin.
Yes.
Dr. Gaffney? Jennifer, I'm a yes.
Yes. Oops, sorry.
Oh, I abstain.
Abstain, yeah.
Yes.
Abstain. Abstain, yes. Okay. Welcome back. All right. Thank you. J6.
Okay. All right. So tonight we come before the board for approval of one-time employee retention compensation bonus. This is an off the salary schedule bonus. When we closed the books back in September and presenting, going over our reserves and the savings that we had some unexpected one-time revenues in relating to interest earnings and some underspending on the unrestricted side across multiple programs. And so we had talked about bringing this item to you. One of the suggestions made by President Morgan was a scale based on years of service. So this item, if we are projecting a 3% increase for 1 to 5 years, 4% increase for 6 to 10 years, and over 11 years, a 5% increase. And this is based on just base salary, no salary add-ons on that. The employee would have had to work last year in 24-25, return to work for us. So it's kind of like a thank you for returning to us bonus, and be employed as of the date that we paid this off. And we're projecting that that paid status needs to go through November 18, 2025, and that would hit the November payroll, which is around November 25th or so, that time. Do you have any questions? Detailed questions?
I don't. It's a great idea. Any questions?
Will the total amount stay?
So the total amount was over $1 million. or so too. The estimated amount for this one-time bonus with statutory benefits is about $533,000. And the majority of that was at unexpected fourth quarter interest earnings and stuff. So this would be coming out of our fund balance savings account.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the one-time employee retention compensation? You guys are so excited. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, very appreciated staff and teachers. Okay, may I have a motion to approve? Thank you, Dr. Gaffney, thank you, Dr. Maravano. Roll call vote, Sean.
Yes.
Arsenio.
Yes.
Maria. Yes. Jennifer, I'm a yes, Doug.
Yes.
And Justin. Yes. Okay, fantastic.
Thank you all. We'll announce to staff tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're all listening in.
Exciting Monday night. Come to the board meeting.
I should have put an asterisk, those who attend the board meeting. Just kidding, I'm kidding.
Bullet.
All right, approval of student worker job descriptions.
So this action item is to memorialize a job description specifically for our student workers in the following areas of the business office, IT department, and maintenance and operations for that. So we would have something official that we can refer to the students to our website to review the job descriptions if they're looking at participating in the student worker program. We have a couple others, which is our theater technician and then before and after school that we'll have to bring to you at a later date.
Fantastic, okay. I have a motion to approve the student worker job descriptions. Oh, sorry, yes, questions?
Yeah, Anita, how many students apply for these positions?
It varies. We get a lot of applications for IT is the most popular and before and after school programs. So I want to say, and I don't think Caroline is Caroline still here?
No.
Okay, maybe Petra, on there, for this last summer, I want to say that we got over 10 applications for before and after school program. About the same for the IT student program. And 0 for business and custodial at that time. But prior to that, we've gotten some for them. But also this year, we did, we had 2 theater technicians that helped with stagecraft prep over the summer, and that was very popular as well. And I see that more students will probably be participating in that. But you have to be a second-year stagecraft student to be eligible for that program.
And I'm looking here at the qualifications for one of these record keeping, financial record keeping, bookkeeping. So how do we recruit for this, or how do students come in with these experiences?
They basically, as a new student with no job description, they need to sell themselves as far as what they're doing in their education program. So that could be in some of the classes, it could be in economics, social studies, anything like that. And it's kind of interesting how they sell those things. They also have part-time jobs and babysitting jobs and doing chores and managing a budget at home with their parents.
Can I just add to that? All of our seniors go through in their economics class a budgeting program and units and et cetera. So every single senior should be able to speak to something to do. They might not know that they can speak to bookkeeping, but they can speak to aspects of bookkeeping, budgeting, and definitely accounting.
And that's one of the reasons why we also have them go through an interview process to provide them with the feedback and stuff, because they haven't had this opportunity to go outside, to a private company.
So are they juniors, sophomores and juniors, or?
They have to qualify for a work permit, so it's usually 16.
Typically it's juniors and seniors.
And the job is during the summer?
And the school year,
Oh,
like,
and the school
like
year.
we have about 12 high school students working in our before and after school program right now.
Thank you.
Just a few, real quick, on the custodian one, there's a typo on the student worker
I just
title,
found
and
it,
then,
yeah.
and then there's also the bullet, an extra bullet with a random, I think that's like in the essential duties and responsibilities, there's a bullet with a period. That's it, but thank you for the information.
I think it's a great program.
Yeah.
A little upset that they're not rushing to be the accounting generalists, but we'll have my moment at some point.
I did mention also that kudos to ECA student. We currently have an intern that is working for us. So he, just to get something on the resume, not part of the student worker program, and is basically helping with escorting people from downstairs, upstairs when PAC leaves and stuff to make sure for security purposes.
Excellent. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the student worker job descriptions? Thank you, Dr. Marinello. Did you get that, Ziba? Arsenio with the motion? Yeah. Okay, roll call, Sean.
Yes.
Arsenio.
Yes.
Dr. Marinello. Yes. 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 Okay. You got yeses all around. Okay, sorry, I gotta go back to the agenda. Yeah. All right, discussions and presentations. Math workshop. Courtney Selby, Laura Perry.
Right. Hello, we are here to talk about math, our favorite subject. All right, so this secondary workshop, we're focusing on the 6th through 12th grade because that's where we start to see scores dropping. And so that will be our focus for today, kind of a continuance of our self-study that we did last year, and then looking at where we are now.
Click our own clicking this time.
I was gonna say.
Okay,
Oh, of course,
the clicker.
you guys know Courtney Selby, our math TOSA. All right, so where are we now? And I presented this data, but I wanted to just kind of share like where like the district is and the state of California, so you can kind of see that that comparison there. You know, we have, where the little button is. But we do have some areas where we're growing, right? And we have some where we're dropping. So we're paying attention to that and looking to make sure that we are supporting them, all of our students, to continue with the growth. And then looking at growth over time with enrollment. As we've seen before, that students, once they are here for 3 years, they start really jumping up in their knowledge. So here, the red is the percent of students that are meeting or exceeding standard, and the gray is their how many points away from standard they are. So they often come to us negative, right, where I have an average of negative 47, and then we're going up, and then at that 4th year, we've filled in those gaps, and then the students start popping into the positive. So we really see that growth taking off. So, you know, consistency, staying with us, allowing us to get to know them and start filling in those gaps, that's really where we start to see a lot of progress. All right, and then I will hand it off to Courtney to talk about all the curriculum.
New device to me, okay. So I'm pretty excited to share with you what we're doing in the math department, specifically here at Flat Rock, but I wanted to talk a little bit just to give everyone background, because I know last time I talked about curriculum, it was half the board was different. So just to fill you in, the curriculum is really just what we're teaching. And as we're changing in some of our instructional practices, what we're teaching has not changed, right? We're still using the same curriculum. Part of what we chose all of the curriculum that we're using is for those reasons that are listed there, right? We wanted something rigorous, we want something standards-based, we want to focus on problem solving and group work. And all of those things are still a huge focus for us. We're just gonna do it a little differently. You can see here also some of the reasons for our curriculum choices. It's just consistency across grade levels, right? So I put one example here, but there are lots of examples out there just showing, you know, some of the strategies they're learning at Star Academy carry into our middle school curriculum and then follows all the way into high school. So here you can see this is an area model for multiplication. So whether you're multiplying 1-digit or 2-digit numbers or binomials, that strategy still follows. So just an example of that. And, you know, the teachers also like just some of the basics of the curriculum, right? Like we have great digital resources. It really helps teachers with lesson planning. And
We have pacing guides. And what we really liked was that it gives us rich tasks, right? Those thinking tasks that take more time for teachers to build. So I'm not sure if I'm clicking the right thing. Click to the right. Click to the right. There you go. Okay. So the way that we'll be delivering our curriculum now is through a framework called Building Thinking Classrooms. Have any of you heard of it? All right, Maria, I figured. Not surprised. Okay, so Building Thinking Classrooms is based on years and years of research. It was actually initially published in 2020, so you can guess how long it took for them to really get the ball rolling, because it's all based on in-class group work, and at that time we were all at home. So it's taken a bit before everyone has jumped on board, but the research is showing some very specific strategies that help to build engagement and deep thinking, but also practice of skills. So we've been working with SCOE. I forgot what other things I had on here. We've been working with SCOE. They also have a lot of thinking classrooms trainings, and the research is continuing. So there's more books. More books are coming. One just got published. We're very excited about it. So this is our framework for how we're teaching the curriculum that we chose before. So how have we been rolling this out here? We have a timeline. We started our book study at the beginning of last school year, and it was really just a meeting once a month. I was running a little PD as we talked about each chapter and what strategies are involved in each chapter. Then we got some mini grants for some tools that we needed. I'll talk about those later. Then we went to the mid-school math conference, which the keynote speaker there was the author of the book. So we were all very excited. And that really was sort of that like launching point. When people came back from that training or that conference, they were excited. Like they saw it, they loved it, we were ready to dive in. So we really were seriously starting Thinking Classrooms in the spring of last year. And this year it's like a full push. We also sent the admin team. So, big shout out to all the principals that are here who went. They're being super supportive of these new strategies because it is a big change and we are expecting questions, right, when you make big changes. So then our last big thing was actually, that's me with the author of the book. I'm totally fangirling, I'm not gonna lie. He signed, he autographed my book, he wrote Keep Thinking. It was amazing. I'm not the only one though. Mike Zook, who is our Math 3 and Pre-Cal and physics teacher, he also went. So he did the Teacher Institute. I did the Coaching Institute, which was really like an addition of hours and a couple extra days. But we were working directly with the author and he was giving us everything that was like fresh out of his research and it was amazing. So we're very prepared. We have all kinds of support. It was a super cool summer, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I know it's such a nerdy thing, but I loved it. It was so great. So, okay, I wanted to just fill you in, like, what the heck is this? So the 4 big ideas, the first one I have VNPS, stands for vertical non-permanent surfaces. And what that means is students are standing up, they're vertical, they're working on whiteboards in small groups of 3, ideally 3. Sometimes we have to, not all classes are a multiple of 3. So, and they're working, the surfaces are non-permanent. So what we're seeing is that students are not afraid to make mistakes because you can goof on a whiteboard and just whoop, erase it and it's gone, right? When you do that on paper, you have to erase it and you see their like angsty eraser marks and they like rip a hole in the paper and then they're kind of demoralized, right? But on a whiteboard, it's not permanent and no one knows that mistake happened once you fix it, right? So it gives them that freedom to actually try and engage with the math without any fear, right? So vertical non-permanent surfaces are really important. Random grouping is another piece that we get some pushback at first from kids and then they get over it. But the important piece about the random grouping is that it builds equity, right? No one is in a low group because they know they picked a card and that card told them what group they were in, right? There's no low group. Every once in a while you get like a personality clash and that's okay. Shuffle the cards, switch them again later, right? They also know that the groups are not permanent, right? We change them every day. So they get to know their peers better. It's also a social emotional piece. It's really good for their just social development. The note taking, I put up here an example of what it looks like.
So instead of that traditional math classroom where the teacher is lecturing the whole period and the kids are just trying to keep up with all of the writing and understand what's happening, but also translating from the board to their paper, which is stressful for kids who struggle in math, we give them a framework for what to fill in, and they figure it out together as a group before they then copy it into their notebooks. So not only is it less note-taking and more thinking, but they've worked it through with people. So they've really thought about it, they really understand it, and then they've taken just the essential things and written those down. So it makes the notes more usable for them as well. And then our last thing is called Check for Understanding. I'm going to talk more about this in a little bit, but it is sort of the way that Thinking Classrooms has rebranded homework. So I'm actually going to just save that for later, because I'm going to talk a lot more about that at the end. Okay, so Thinking Classrooms, we have, as I talked about before, the conceptual tasks come from the curriculum. We have not dropped our curriculum. We are still using it. It just looks different because now the kids are all standing up, but they're still doing problems from the book, right? So sometimes you'll see them in the classroom and they'll be working through something. It's very conceptual. They're building their understanding. The teacher is popping in and pulling the class sometimes. We're looking at each other's work. We're trying to build that understanding. Sometimes the lessons are something called thin sliced. And that means we have taken the skills that they need, right? We're past the concept, now we're practicing procedure. We're just solving equations, for example. And they're starting at a super easy one. Everyone can get on board. And just we add one tiny layer, one thin slice at a time until we build them to that level that we want to get them to. It goes very fast. It is very surprising how quickly the kids could blow through, for example, this many problems. And they don't even know that they've done 35 problems in a class because it's not on a worksheet that's numbered. So that's an example of a thin slice lesson. Here's an example of something more conceptual. Okay? Questions so far? All right, so I actually don't know if I can do this with the clicker. This is new. I have, first one, somebody's got it. Yes, please. So here, actually, hold on before you respond. The first lesson, I'm going to show you just a really brief, like maybe 2 minutes, just what it looks like. So this is one of our 7th grade classes, and they're working through what I was just describing. They're working through a thin slice lesson, and so you can see all the things that are going on. So go ahead and we'll look at that. Can you make it big, please? Oh, you can't hear them. You can't hear them. So actually using manipulatives, which we got magnetic ones, so they can use them on the boards. So they're pretty early on in the solving equations stage, but they're working through it. And you can see up there on the whiteboard wall, the teacher has written that list of problems. And as the kids do them, he erases and then adds more. So there's never more than 5 problems on the board at a time. They have no idea how much work they're doing. Oh, you can't hear this kid, but he's yelling at the teacher to get out of his way nicely. He's saying, Mr. Oreo, you're in my way. I need more math problems. That's actually what's happening there. I'm not making that up. That's a thing. Mr. Oreo is very tall. Oh, I'm sad you can't hear the audio. It's such good conversation that the kids are having. Can we turn it on? Oh. No, not gonna happen. Okay. All right, so that was what it looks like in 7th grade, and that's a thin slice lesson. So they are just practicing all together. Okay, this next one is a high school lesson. This is actually pre-cal, so we're at the totally other end of the spectrum, and they're doing more of a thinking task. So you can see that the work is a lot slower. They're not turning around to grab the next problem all the time. It's very different. And then you'll see where they start to get stuck. So we can go ahead and see if hopefully we can hear this one.
Courtney, maybe you can narrate for us. I think Ziva's computer is too close to the mic, so it's pretty.
Okay. Yeah, so this group has just asked that group over there what they should do.
they're stuck. But they've asked, this kid totally knows that's Manny. He's great. He's like, yeah, you gotta square that, right? And they're like, oh, okay. And they square it. And then later they ask if they're like, wait, why do I square that? And he tells them. And then the other piece you can't hear that's about to happen is that the teacher has noticed where the kids are getting stuck. And so he starts talking. Soon I'm gonna pan to him. And he's gonna give them a little hint. These guys are totally still talking and not listening. And it turns out, it doesn't matter. They get it eventually. So here he is, there's Mr. Zook. So he's actually introducing the concept of a limit, which is, if anyone knows their math, it's a huge piece of calculus. But they get that, they start that in pre-cal. So he just gave them a hint, it was very short. It was not a lecture, it was just to move the thinking forward. And if you can see, kids who were starting to disengage, now they're all like turned around, they're at the whiteboards, and they're talking from group to group. And these kids who weren't paying attention, they were still talking about what they were doing, are now doing the next thing. And then they realized, it took them that long, by the way, to realize I was recording them. So anyway, so what's really cool about this is you can see what they call knowledge mobility, right? It's not just the teacher throwing the knowledge to the kids and hoping it sticks, right? They're actually sharing that knowledge all the way across the room, and not even just in their little group of 3. Like it travels. So it's amazing to see.
I just have one little thing, Courtney. Yeah. So at our next one-on-ones, if you guys can do it during the daytime, totally happy, Courtney, I can take you around to classes and see it in person. I think the thing that is most interesting to watch is, you think about a traditional math lesson like many of us exposed, right? Not every kid was engaged. I mean, you think about like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where there's literally a child drooling on the desk, right? Like that happens often in traditional lecture-based lessons. But you go in every single one of these math classrooms and 100% of the kids are engaged. They're all engaged in conversation. They're all talking about rich, robust tasks. They are very interactive with each other, but also interactive with the teacher. And the teacher is kind of up, moving around the room, working with each kid, or each group individually, and kind of helping them with what they need. It's also pretty powerful to watch in our co-taught classes, where we have students with disabilities that have a math teacher and an ed specialist working with them simultaneously. In a lot of math classrooms that I've been a part of in the past, like that's a student population that might get kind of left behind a little bit, right? But in this particular model, they're not. They're interacting with their peers and they're really engaged in the work. So yes, next time we walk classrooms, we'll go do some math classes.
Yeah, you'll love it. So, are there any questions about what it looks like in the classroom before I move into check for understanding? Because this is sort of the other piece. Okay, so the other big change, and we're mostly just trying this at PFAA. We have Leading Edge as kind of like our control group right now, so we're doing homework in a similar way to that we've done in the past. But at PFAA, we are doing check for understanding in the way that Thinking Classrooms describes. So what that means is, and this is the scary part for parents and kind of for teachers too, is that we are not collecting and grading homework. We're not doing it. We are giving check for understanding problems, and we're saying, these are important. This is practice that you need to be able to do, right? We're giving them the answer so they can check their work. They actually can check their own understanding, right? And we're saying, come get help if you need it, right? Some of you are like already starting to give me the side eye, I see it. But I'm gonna show you some data. All right, but understand that the students are being taught that it's not just about doing the work to get the work done, which is what teenagers tend to do, let's be honest. Like, I just gotta get the homework done, I just gotta get my points, I just gotta get my stamp, right? It's about valuing the understanding, right? Everyone gets what they need under this strategy. So we do make it very clear to the kids that in their weekly mastery check, which is like a quiz, those problems come from the check for understanding. So if you can do the check for understanding, you're good on the mastery check, that's what's going on your grade. And if you don't do well on the mastery check, we're pulling you into win and we're having you go back and redo the check for understanding. Or for some kids, do it for the first time because maybe they didn't do it, right? And they learned that lesson. And so they have to do that in order to do a retake on a mastery check. And then they can retake it, and then their grades are coming up. So, the other piece, just to remind, I put that reminder at the bottom. The mastery checks are also preparation for the unit test. So it all builds. Okay, so
Can I add one thing? Sorry. Yeah. Just, and thinking about that, so then their grade is based on like them mastering the content, right? And actually noting, it's not just like, oh, I'm raising my grade, it's like I actually proved that I mastered that idea. So then the kids are building that confidence as well as their grade going up. So it's not just like, I got a few more points to add to my score.
So here's some preliminary data that actually I had to do this like a while ago. So it's almost getting old data, but we've already started to make changes based on this. So from 7th grade, we started looking at the mastery checks to see, how the homework or check for understanding is impacting those mastery check scores. And you can see 7th grade last year, the average of the first mastery check, kids were averaging about an 84%, right? It's not super new material, but they're averaging about a B. This year, they're averaging a 91%. Same mastery check, different homework strategies, right? And then we saw in 8th grade, okay, the percentage went up a little bit from last year to this year. And that's when we were like, yeah, we really need to focus on this added reteaching. So we added in the piece where you have to come do the check for understanding with the teacher in order to do the retake. Now they're up at a 93. Does that make sense? So that reteaching piece is a really big part of the check for understanding. So that's at the middle school. That's what we've got so far. We are continuing to study this as the year goes on because we really want to make sure we're getting it right and we're setting the kids up for success. So some more data. So this is high school data. Mr. Zook, who I showed you in the other video, is doing some of the practice homework on Delta Math. So it's online. So we actually have data to see who is doing the check for understandings, right? That was the thing we were worried about, was how do we monitor this without taking away from the idea that we're not monitoring it, right? So this is the way. So what you can see is there in blue, those are students who are doing the homework. Most of the kids are still doing it. Some of them in orange, Delta Math actually allows you to do extra problems. We got kids who are doing extra, right? Very few of them, only 13%, didn't do it at all. I'll be honest with you, my 6th grader, not doing the homework right now. And it's killing me. But is she doing fine in class? Totally. So we also marked who partially completed it, kind of started and stopped, and then who mostly did it. So maybe they just didn't do the last problem or two. So that's how they're doing as far as actually doing the work. Here are their mastery check scores based on how much work they completed. So what's great is you can see here, if they're completing it, they're doing great. We're averaging A's and B's. Love it. They're doing most of it. That's not everybody, but A's and B's. Good. Love it. Kids who aren't doing it, also doing totally fine, right? They didn't need it. You don't need to force a kid to do 20 math problems when they can do it once and they get it, right? So we're allowing for that. This is where we're concerned, right? We see kids who are partially doing it. They're starting it, they're not finishing it. And those are the kids that we're like, you need to come to win. And we are pulling them in. So that's sort of our cue right there, is where we see them start and stop. Those are the ones who are still confused. So now that we've identified that, we have some better data to help us identify who needs help earlier on. And that's the direction we're going now. You guys have any questions? Well, I'm very excited about it. I'm very proud of the math teacher, so I was excited to share that with you. And then also just, if you would like a Building Thinking Classrooms tour, I know Joe already put this out there, but yeah, please email me. I'd be so excited to show you around, and like, you will just be amazed at what you see, even like little 6th graders using this academic vocabulary and just doing the math. Super cool. All right, I'm gonna turn it back over to Laura. Thanks.
Oh, you can clap for her. Clap for her. She's doing so much, and she's always humble about it. So, all right. So I'm here to talk a little bit about math support and intervention, and really looking at what we're doing. So we have some different things going on, but what I wanted to talk a little bit about, and this is looking at our iReady data, when we look at the beginning of the year testing that we did. So we have the green are the kids who are at grade level. They're kind of ahead going into the year. The yellow are the kids who are just right ready to start their new grade, and then the red are the kids that are behind. And so we've kind of designed different things for the different groups of students. So, when you're looking at things like the co-taught math classes, right? Those are actually going to everyone, right? Everyone in that class is getting that support, right? Whether you're a green, yellow, or red. So that's called tier 1. So that's going to support everyone. And then we look at having our WIN, right? Or our learning lab or intervention pieces. So those are mostly going for these students, right? Those are like going in, doing the check for understanding when you're not getting it. And then when we're looking at things that are for the students that are filling in here, that's where we're looking at definitely doing like the MyPath in iReady, where they're getting those little pieces being pulled in for an extra win. That's not about the check for understanding. We're having some tutoring after school that's starting, that the students are getting individually invited to. So we're attending to the different groups, right? And so it all depends on the need of the student for how you're being placed or invited into the different things. All right, and then math facts fluency. We've been focusing on this since last year. That's something that we've seen, right? And the important thing to think about is if you don't have your math facts fluently coming out of you, you're already hesitant, right, to do the math, even if you're understanding the conceptual pieces, right? And so we really want to build that and build their math self-confidence, which I have to say that is something that I have seen the most growth with as we've been doing the building thinking classrooms is the kids just their attitude towards doing it and their willingness to try things and to to see how it goes is really building. And so we're doing this across the board, right? So in TK through 5th, so at STAR and at PACT, we've got we did the big back to school night. We gave out the math packets. We've got iReady data. The teachers are looking at it, seeing who needs what, how can we support the students. We've got games. We've got one of the things that kids do is Fluency Flight. It's a game in iReady. It's really engaging and fun. And then the 6th through 12th, we've got the MyPath iReady Pro, which I might have talked to you guys about, I'm not sure, but they took, for the kids that have really low skills, they're not seeing, middle schoolers aren't seeing baby type of things. They've upped it so it looks more, I don't know, more cool, less, less simple, and so they're getting that gap filling. And then the classroom level fluency work is coming in the 6th through 12th grade classrooms. So they're kind of building to that. So they'll be doing some practice, some quizzes, that type of thing that they're already working on in the elementary. And then that's it. Do we have any questions about math? Maria?
Does ECA also get this approach with the math, or is that coming later?
So yes, but because we had to hire a new teacher just about a month ago, we're onboarding her, but we've been talking and I'm like, you're ready for this book. So we're gonna send her to a training because I think it will be really effective in her workshops, but right now she's still just learning Schoology, learning the schedule.
Right.
But yeah, I can tell she's already like, oh, that sounds really
The
good.
previous math teacher at ECA was a part of all of the building thinking classrooms and everything, so now it's just,
Yeah, and he was
Starting
using the
it.
whiteboards and workshops and he was doing it. He was just also very new, so he had a lot of all the new teacher things to work on as well.
What does this look like at PACT?
So this focus is 6 through 12 is where we're working on it. We haven't gone to the elementary and PACT Academy yet, but a lot of these strategies would work really well for PACT as well.
I've actually had some interest from some PACT teachers, so now I'm trying to figure out how I can and I haven't talked to Alicia yet.
What does that look like?
Yeah, exactly. How will that work in their workshops? But I think it can be done. I'm kind of ready to reach there, trying to figure out how to get it to them at a time that they're able to do that PD.
That it could be a good book study for the parent group. I know Jen Aiken does book studies with the parents a couple of times each year, so Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Laura, don't go away.
I'm
just switching out.
Okay, hi. Good to see you guys.
Just change your sweaters.
Okay, all right, well, welcome. We're gonna be talking about some data. Here we go. All right, but tonight is the night that is way more exciting because you get to hear from all of the principals and not just me. But just keeping in mind as we are looking at this today, keeping in mind that all 5 of our academies are all very different. They have different students coming, they have different needs, so there's different instructional strategies, there's different things that all of the teachers are doing to make sure that we're meeting the students where they are. And then as we get to secondary, working with the students where they are, whether they were from our elementary academies or they're coming from outside, right? So because we do, as we've looked at before, we see a big difference depending on where they're coming from. So we've got, blah. All right, so I feel like I just showed you this.
It's just the math version.
Yes, yes, yeah, so whether it's the English, right? I know I have to change from just my math view. I was like, oh no. Okay, so you see that in English, we start building their skills much more quickly, but still after the 3rd year, you start seeing the distance from standard really going up, right? So the longer you're here, the more we can build your skills and get you moving. And then I just talked to you about the math one, similar thing, the longer you're here, the better you're going to do because we can fill in those gaps. And one thing, we have that, the building thinking classrooms in math, but a lot of the strategies and connections that teachers are doing in classes help to build that thinking, not just like getting. The kids are developing knowledge. I was just at walking classrooms at Star Academy today, and it was really exciting. It was a math example, but the teacher was teaching like adding and having it be different groupings, right? You could have all the ways you can make 10. And so they were doing worksheets, they were doing different things, and then she pulled up 10 kids and she was moving all around. And so, we're really trying to make sure that students are getting what they need. All right, so enough with me. I'd like to invite Diana Wilson up to talk about Star Academy. You want me to just click for you, or do you want to click?
I don't know how to click.
Okay, so I'll be your clicker.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, there we go. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm back. My pleasure tonight to share with you Star Academy's CASP results from 24-25. For ELA is the first one on the left. ELA, we are at about 69% met or exceeded standards in English language arts. And that 19% there in that lighter gray are the kids that are nearly there. So we were excited about those results as well. And then for math, right next door, we have about 60% scoring meeting or exceeding grade level standards. And then we have 25% of them nearly met that standard this year. So we are very proud of these scores for Star Academy this year. Especially wanted to point out how close ELA and math are together, relatively speaking. So we're excited about our data this year. And so what does that mean going forward this year? We have a lot of processes in place to use our data. At the very beginning of the year at our Star Kickoff, we brought out all this data to share with the staff and really took a celebratory approach. Just look at all of the great work you did last year and look at this high launching point that we have this year. And we compared our CASP data, we compared it to our iReady data, and we celebrated our results together to celebrate our strength. And then this last professional development day, we took a deep dive with 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers into what's called claims and targets. So for example, a claim is a subject area like operations and procedures in math. So we took that claim or that target or claim, sorry, I get them confused. And then we drilled down all the way to the standards to look at the individual standards for that grade level. And we did a lot of reflections as a grade level team and as a 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade vertical alignment to dive deep and decide what does that mean for our curriculum? So for our math, we found some areas that we need to improve upon. And in English language arts, we found some focus areas for language instruction as well as vocabulary. So we're excited to build that out later this year. And then we've been doing some things to support our teachers with strong instructional practices. So we have an instructional coach this year, Jackie Scholl, goes into all classrooms and coaches our teachers. And we also have had learning walks this year where we have had taken teams of teachers, usually about 5 or 6 teachers, and we go visit classrooms. And we spend about 10 minutes in all the classrooms teaching different subject areas. And the teachers have really gotten to learn from each other and to get a good peek inside other classrooms, right? We always think maybe teachers would know what everyone's doing, but you don't know because they're in their own classrooms. So it's been great. What that has turned into is me seeing all these strategies, because I get to go to all the learning walks. I get to see all these great strategies pop up in all the classrooms and they're really learning from each other. So that's been great. And then we have our common collaboration time and instructional time. So we have MTSS every Monday where we look at all of our common data and we look at all the kids and see what they need, whether we need to focus on them for intervention, whether we need to push them, or if we need to beef up our 2-in-1 instruction. And that determines our win groups, our what I need is our intervention structure at STAR, as well as the time we use that time for English language instruction. So that's how we use our data, and that's a little summary of STAR.
Thank you, Jan.
Up next, Alicia Carter from Tech.
Hi friends, it's me again. On my annual trip for data. All right, so we have some PAC data, and we actually had some great solid things happening this year, which is great. So on the left, you can see our ELA scores from last year. About 46% of our kiddos met or exceeded grade level in ELA, and then in math, we were at 32%. As always, I put a big asterisk next to this and tell you that, remember, a lot of my kids turn over, and these are really small sample sizes. So I actually crunched some numbers this year for you. We had 70 students who were in grades 3 through 8 last year. If you haven't caught this, we're shifting downward. A lot of our enrollment is actually TK through 2 right now, so we just don't have very many students even testing. Of those 70, and yes, it does say 70 and 69. We actually had a kid disenroll in between those 2 tests. So that's where that comes from. But of those students, the 69 who were still there, 31 of them returned. That's all we got back this year. So when we look at data from previous years, we look for patterns and we're looking for trends. But in order to really get a picture of what's happening, we have to drill down to the kiddos. So of those students in 3rd through 8th grade, it's making up 48% of our current testable enrollment for this school year right now. So about half of the kids that we'll be testing this spring are coming out of this data. So we take a look, we see who they are, we pull that data out one at a time and just to really see what's happening and what's going on there. One of the good things that's happening is we are seeing our light gray zone grow. And that's those kids who are getting closer. So a lot of times when students are coming into us, they're coming out of school trauma, they're changing placements because something's not going so well, and they're really low in that dark gray far below. And we're doing a pretty good job of bringing them up into that gray zone of almost there. Okay, Ziba can, oh, sorry, it's not Ziba, it's Laura. Thank you. This is my favorite graph though, that I wanted to bring here. Laura keeps hearing me talk about how much I love this graph. So we got access to some new ways to break down data this year. And I've been saying for years that I think if you stay at PACT, you do better. And here's the graph. So what we're looking at here is the red bars are in ELA and the gray bars are in math. And what this is showing us is that students who, when they tested last year, it was their 1st or 2nd year with us. That's this first bit here. They were at about 50% of them were at or above grade level. Students who it was their 3rd or 4th year with us were at 65 and 60% proficiency. And students where it was their 5th or 6th year with us were at 74% at or above grade level in ELA and 61 in math. So this is a really great thing. Our sample sizes are getting smaller because fewer kids stay that long, but we're really working with our families right now about it really does matter between the data we're showing for just NCS All and with our data. You got to stick with something for a while in order to see it pay off. So stick with us and you'll see the results. Okay, so what does this mean for us? Yep. Here's some of my kiddos doing some math things, and ELA things. We have spent a lot of time in the first quarter really reviewing that CASP data on an individual student level and looking at each kid to see, did they grow? Are they stagnant? What's happening? We also really took a look at our iReady data because that is the data from this year. And good news, it's very, very promising. We have a very solid foundation. We hold weekly MTSS meetings on Thursdays with all of our advisors where we're looking at data, which kids need help now, who's growing, who's not. We are doing twice a month, I meet with my special education team to review each case and update student plans for our students with IEPs, who are one of our most struggling demographics, our subgroups in that data. We've been participating in professional development and training that's really geared at supporting all students, coaching parents on how to support students who are struggling, and then really messaging with parents about that importance of consistency, sticking with something, whether it's a school, a curriculum, a plan, to be consistent for their students. And then finally, we're continuing with our literacy and math foundations workshops. Those are actually being incredibly well attended. Those run TK through 8. We've been really pushing to use at home that iReady MyPath weekly for students and sharing data with parents about national trends. If you just do 30 to 49 minutes in each subject area a week, the data across the nation is showing a significant increase. And then continuing to really work with matching curriculum to the student based on those specific needs. So that's our data and all our stuff.
Great, thank you. And Stephanie, amazing leading edge principal.
Thank you. Well, good evening again. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about what's going on at Leading Edge and how we did last year. You can see that Leading Edge, our strength definitely was language arts. We had about 61% met or exceeding standards in language arts. When you dig into those scores, we kind of identified a couple of areas, both through CASP and through iReady, looking at reading comprehension for expository text, as well as writing in the expository text area. So that's going to be kind of an area of focus that we'll work on with the teachers and building in, and it works really well across subject areas. So that's a really nice cross-curricular approach that we can use. One of the things that we have done this year is we had GLAD training, so guided language acquisition design. And that is a curricular approach, a teaching approach that teachers use to support our English learners. But the strategies that you use when teaching through GLAD actually support all learners. It's things like visuals, having pictures, having colors, having students, heavily participating in the curriculum, physical responses, doing chants, singing songs, writing poems, all kinds of really engaging things. These are things that are happening at STAR, and so for our learners coming in from STAR, these are going to be familiar things that they're going to see when they come into our classrooms. We actually had the opportunity to host a GLAD training here on the Black Rock campus. We had guest teachers from Woodland that came over to participate. It was pretty exciting. So we're going to be using those GLAD strategies to really improve our EL students' progress, and we have Happy Aminra here this year, on the Black Rock campus, doing intervention as well as ELD instruction. So our students who are still learning English, they are getting pull-out instruction during the school day with a new curriculum, so we can support them in their growth. So we really are collaborating a lot, just trying to look at that data, supporting different student groups. And then, I'm working really closely with our special education team as well. We have a great ed specialist who, is just really involved with all the students and making sure that they're getting what they need. As a staff, it's a lot of the same things that you've heard, right? We're looking at our CASP scores, our iReady scores, MTSS, just to support those learners, meet them where they are so we can continue raising them up. And in math, this is an opportunity for us. We were at 37% met or exceeding standards. It's pretty clear across the board that we've got room to grow, and so that's definitely a focus. We are implementing building thinking classrooms.
which you heard all about already, so I won't repeat any of that. You know, we're looking at our data from iReady, from CASP, trying to dig into how can we further support students. You know, you heard a lot of the things with the foundational skills, math fluency, and also looking for opportunities. How do we support our high students? So our 7th grade students who were higher performing, they're in a class that's an accelerated class. And so they're gonna actually be able to take a higher math class in 8th grade as well. And so, you know, we are looking at data. We looked at data to identify students. We double checked that data at the beginning of the year in case there were any that maybe made a lot of progress over summer. And so we're able to support their growth, which is really exciting. One of the areas I'm focusing on is this group of kids, right? The ones who were standard nearly met. That's a big chunk of kids, 33%. So when we look at that student group, we need to look at like, what supports are they receiving? Are they participating in any of our after-school tutoring opportunities? Are they going to our study hall that we hold? Are they going to office hours? How can we help that group of students get the bump that they need to move up in the next category?
Thank you.
Gareth?
All right. So with PFA, we continue to see pretty strong scores in ELA in particular. So we did see 72% of students meeting or exceeding in the category. Although that still leaves us with about 27%, or etc., 27.8% that we need to work on. So some areas that we've identified was the ELD instruction. A lot of the material you have heard from my wonderful colleagues, because we do work together very closely on this campus, and we do have a lot of things in common. So we're lucky enough this year to have designated ELD. So we have an actual ELD teacher, Habiem Amenra, who is serving our students with that specific need. We had over a dozen teachers who attended GLAD training. And what's exciting about that from the PFA perspective was those teachers came from all disciplines, both middle school, high school, and also education specialists attended that training together. So it really is cohesive, and it's exciting to see the different strategies popping up everywhere across campus. And the next step is those teachers will be sharing all of the GLAD training with their colleagues. And so we've got teachers of teachers, and that's something that we're definitely excited for. We are providing regular, bi-monthly literacy-specific professional development for all teachers at PFA, which is a new introduction this year. And we'll continue to monitor EL progress using LPAC growth data. I did want to highlight one growth. Last year when we did this presentation, the biggest area of need from the statistics was with our African-American students. And as you can see, this year we jumped from having 44% met and exceeded last year to 66 this year. So there was a lot of work put in by our staff with that specific area. Shifting over to math, as Mrs. Archibald shared, this is definitely an area still where there's lots to grow. But I do want to highlight the impact that Building Thinking Classroom is already having on our campus. It really is an exciting experience, and I would encourage everyone to kind of see that in a classroom. We're continuing to refine placement and intervention classes. We now have a lot of intervention classes at PFA that are all being relatively new. So middle school ideas and interventions, we now have a 7th grade intervention class and an 8th grade intervention class. This year, the 7th grade is new. We now have a Math 1A and 1B program, so dividing that Math 1 class into 2 years, supporting students who may need that, as well as math modeling, which is like a Math 1.5, and also a high school intervention class. This goes alongside the Math BC track, so when in middle school, students are able to get into a Math BC class, which is an advanced class as well, so we're supporting both sides of it, but you can see we've really invested heavily into that intervention piece. And then we're continuing to monitor the students with disability progress. We really are excited by the co-teaching model, and we've invested heavily into that as well. And then I also wanted to highlight, so just pulling out that the subgroup of African-American students, whilst again, there is a long way to go, but the growth from 13% meeting and exceeding to 29% was also a big highlight for us. And then I kind of went rogue with the presentation, and Ziva allowed me to slide in one presentation slide that's not on and this is the reason why. So we actually just had a data training last week with Parsec, a company that we're using to support us with some data analysis. And I was so proud of the data that came across from the graduating class this year, so 25, 26. What I'm proud about is when we talk about data, we talk about institutional data, a snapshot in time, and then cohort data, looking at that growth over time. And when you look at the institutional data, sometimes it doesn't tell the story. It doesn't tell the context of the journey. So if you look on this side, we've got the ELA scores, and again, math scores. Math scores are lower than the ELA scores. That's a theme. However, what we don't see here is this is the group that in 6th grade made their way through their school year, and then in March, the world happened and all the schools closed. Most of them didn't return back to school until their 8th grade. Some of them came back in 7th, at the end of 7th, but most of them didn't come back until 8th grade. Now, what you may or may not know, at that time, these students in 8th grade, there was an unfortunate situation with a teacher at that time, and they had a long-term sub for the majority of that 8th grade. They then moved into 9th grade, and for happier reasons, there was a baby. Those students didn't have their 9th grade teacher for the first, I think it was 6 weeks of the first semester and the first 4 weeks of the second semester, because the teacher was on long-term. He took paternity leave. This really, when we get there, the students didn't have a consistent math teacher until 10th grade, when they had a full year of math, and then 11th grade, just before they took this CASP test over here. And what I want to highlight again, and I hope that at least one student is watching this, is just how proud the faculty, the staff are of that class, because they grew from the scores they received in their 8th grade year. And I also want to say this was a historically highly retained class, meaning when they went from 8th to 9th grade, barely anybody left. And for whatever reason, we saw huge numbers in 9th grade of retention. So in ELA, they went from 59%, the same students meeting standards, to 84%, 85%, a huge growth. And in math, they almost doubled their scores. So from 8th grade, where they received 23%, to 40% in 11th grade. Again, same students, growth over time. So sometimes it does behoove us to take a step back from just that snapshot in time of institutional data to really look at that cohort data and really kind of sing the praises. Like I said, I hope someone's parent or someone's students are actually watching this, to really sing the praises of just saying how proud we are of the growth, because that's really what we're here for, to help students grow and find what success is. Any questions? Oh.
Kenwood Sport College Academy.
All right, thank you. Hi. So first up, we have our ELA data. I just want to point out, I added a little extra piece here about growth. And a big reason for that is because at ECA, one of our challenges is we only get to test them once in 11th grade. So what these snapshots don't show is where these students came in. And also because we have such a small group with such high turnover, similar to what PACT sees, many of these students we've had for a year and a half. And so what I want to point out, something that's positive here, is that 54% of our students showed more than expected growth. So there are grade bands where you're expected to grow so many points per year, and 54% went beyond that. I don't have the exact number, but somewhere around 75% showed some growth, showed growth overall. So we're really proud of the growth that they're showing. This particular group of students came in with very few students coming in at or above grade level. And so we worked really hard with them on some strategies. We added new ELA supports in part because of this group and their scores when they came in. And we're continuing to do those things. So some of the things we're doing, just like we talked about, we have a new ELD teacher on campus. And so we have some new ELD support time. We actually built that into our schedule for our students, even though they're independent study. So they're doing that twice a week, which has been great. And the attendance actually has been really, really good, which is really nice because they're really taking advantage of that support, which I'm excited about. Our teachers have been incorporating more CASP strategies, so utilizing some of the tools in the test system. And then something I'm also really proud of with my staff is they actually saw this need
And so they are introducing some more cross-curricular projects. So they're doing 2 different cross-curricular projects in social studies and ELA this year. Because something we see in our iReady diagnostic, I know that's not shown here, but our students kind of struggle with informational text pretty regularly every year. And so our teachers got together and they decided to do some projects around reinforcing their reading comprehension and presentation skills specifically around that. And so those are some of the things we're doing in ELA to kind of move that needle. Thanks. All right, so same for math. Again, our test scores this year are a little bit challenging. So we only had 11% met or exceeded. But again, what you can't see is that when you look at these students' 8th grade scores, only 2 of our entire class came in meeting or exceeding standards as 9th graders. And so we see that 46% of our students showed more than expected growth. I know it's a much deeper data dive than we're kind of getting into today, but when you break those numbers down for our subgroups, our highest need students actually showed the most growth. So our EL students are students who came in that dark gray, so the lowest sort of score band, they showed the most growth of all of our students. So when I look at growth and who's making progress, I was actually really impressed because it shows that our intervention is working. So I think there's some more work to do around the light gray, kind of like Stephanie was talking about. There's a little more work to do around the light gray, which is those kind of middle students. But we are doing a pretty good job of supporting our students who are coming in a little bit lower. We've adjusted our integrated Math 1 support course. We're utilizing a stations model now. We did just hire a brand new math teacher with over 10 years of experience in the classroom. She's absolutely fantastic and has really hit the ground running and is diving into math support, especially revamping the whole system. So I'm super, super, super excited about that and what she'll be able to do. We have 2 additional math study halls. So rather than having 1 long study hall like most of our teachers have, we actually have 3 shorter ones for math now, so that students have plenty of opportunities throughout the week to stop in for some extra help. And then we have some increased with some targeting interventions. So especially with our new math teacher now, we have the math space data analytics, which in math space, it really, really breaks down, down to the minute where students are spending their time. And so they're able to use that to help target their specific needs and hopefully see some more growth in this area. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bless you. So 5 very unique academies, different approaches to meet the needs. One thing that I'm most proud about is the way that the principals are digging into the data with their staff to really look and not just, go with a gut feeling, I think this is what's happening, but really looking at what the students need. So keeping that in mind, I'm just going to put into your heads, remember we are in our WASC year. And so coming up in February, so you'll be hearing more about this as we move forward. We'll be having our WASC team coming out to talk to you, talk to the school, see and learn about all of these things that we're doing. So they're going to get to learn all of that as well. All right, any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Dr. Wood with the enrollment report.
So we're not done with data yet. We have one more report of data. And your board packet tonight is our enrollment report. This is our monthly report. This one's a little different in that we also have our CBEDS numbers in here. So those are our official census date numbers. So you can see that in terms of October 1st CBEDS date, we were at 269 for leading edge, 123 at PAC, which is now 124 as of today. And then 775 at PFA, 596 at STAR, and 136 at ECA. That's now 138 at ECA. So for the CBEDS day, we were sitting at 1901, which is above budget. So good. This also means that it is about the time of the year for applications to reopen because it's just a perpetual spinning cycle. So applications for 26-27 do open on November 3rd, and the team is already in the thick of getting ready for application season and all the events that we hold here on campus. Questions about the enrollment report? All right. Next one's also mine, and Ziva too. So don't forget that all board members need to complete their mandatory ethics training before January 1st. So you guys have the option of completing it through the Charter Schools Development Center. It's a very easy online course. I did it while ironing on Sunday morning, so you can do it around the same time too. And so starting next month, we'll actually have a list of who's completed it and who has not completed it. So if you wanna be on Ziva's good list, I would get it done in the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, she's gonna come to your house with like a laptop and be like, you do it now.
All right.
Any questions about ethics training? All right, thank
Stay
you
off
guys.
the Ziba's list.
Yeah, you don't wanna get on Ziva's, the naughty list, nope.
Yep. All right. Hearing of the public for items not on the agenda.
Nothing received with me and no one online.
Hearing of the public for items on the agenda.
Also nothing received with me and no one online.
Okay, Executive Director comments, Dr. Wood?
Yes, I had a few things. So first, we are running right into the thick of performance and event season, so make sure to keep an eye on your emails. But some to highlight, this Friday is the Star Harvest Carnival that our Nova parent group is putting on. Also, a week from Friday is the Pack Harvest Carnival that the Impact parent group is putting on. This week, They Promised Her the Moon opens at PFAA. On November 6th, we have Jazz at the Band. And November 30th is NCS night at the Sacramento Kings game, so get your tickets. I did mention application season is opening up in just a couple of weeks. And the last two things I just wanted to call out are celebrations. First, this is that time of year where we have the opportunity to really look at our college success data. And so a couple pieces I just wanted to really share publicly is our 4-year college acceptance rate is currently sitting at about 97% of our graduating seniors. Our UC acceptance rate is sitting about 85%, and our CSU acceptance rate is sitting about 93%. So those are all very strong numbers and show the work that we do in terms of preparing seniors. And the last thing I just want to call out is last week was Principal or Administrator Appreciation Day. And so before we walk out this evening, I just want to say thank you to our amazing administrative team. We're very lucky to have these leaders as part of our school community. As you hopefully heard and saw throughout their presentations this evening, they really do lead with those 3 pillars in mind of students first, accountability, and innovation. And even as they're presenting their data, you can hear in them already like, and we're going to change this thing, and we're going to make this adjustment, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And I feel very fortunate that we have this administrative team working in our schools. So I just want to say thank you.
Okay, Board of Director comments. Great meeting, great information. I mean,
Yes.
moving forward, making progress. It's great.
Future board agenda items?
We'll be bringing back ethics training if you didn't know that.
All right, if there's nothing else, I will adjourn the meeting at 8:12.